Evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adenike, and I'm one of the programs lead at Techie Academy. So, on behalf of the entire team at Techie Academy, I say a very big welcome to you. And I hope you have an amazing webinar today. So, whether you're joining us from Lagos, from Canada, from London, wherever you're joining us from, we are excited to have you here with us. So, today we'll be talking about efficiency meets security. Before we dive in, I would like to tell you a bit about Techie Academy and what we do, our goals, and what we have in plans for you. So, at Techie Academy, we stand at the forefront of the EdTech revolution, and we are dedicated to equipping individuals with essential technology skills that are highly sought after in today's job market. So we want to equip you in such that when you go out there, you will be able to, ace whatever interview or whatever job interviews you apply to, and you'll be able to, stand out even among the other interviewees. So we also want you to be the very best, whereby you're going to be able to use whatever tools you'll be learning from us. So, and we want you to be able to get remote job even at the comfort of your home. Wherever country you are in, wherever state you are in, we want you to be able to get remote jobs. We know there is a lot of we've actually done our own market research, and we know there's a lot of skill gap in the country right now. So we want to, that's our goal. So we actually want to close that bridge. We don't want you to go out there and you won't get called back. In fact, we want employers to start looking for you with job. So that is our goal. And how do we want to achieve this? By giving you the best skill, by training you to be the very best. So our focus is on practical, industry relevant training programs covering areas like Microsoft 365 administration, Power Platform, business intelligence, um, data engineering, analytics engineering, and database administration. So our courses are expertly crafted to not just impart knowledge, but to ensure you can immediately apply the skills in the real world scenarios. So our curriculum are actually built by experts with over 7 years of experience on the job. So they actually built by consultants, not like somebody with 1 year of experience. No. So because we are actually careful and we want to give you the very best. So for somebody to be a consultant, you should know that okay, they've seen the in and out of the job, they've seen everything, and our curriculum are actually up to date to according to Microsoft standard. Also, at Techie Academy, our mission transcends teaching. We are committed to nurturing and launching successful tech careers in a data-driven, cloud-centric world. So I haven't talked about that. I would like to tell you about Microsoft 365 admin. So let me give you a brief walkthrough on what it entails. So our Microsoft 365 admin is actually a 10 to 12 month program, and also it can be customized. So we are going to be covering modules like Microsoft Exchange, which includes mail flow, message protection, security, hybrid exchange, and troubleshooting. Also, we are going to be covering Microsoft Teams, which includes team settings, collaboration, security, compliance, and integrating Teams with other Microsoft 365 services. Also, we will cover Microsoft SharePoint, which includes modern site management, offsite, permissions, and integration with Microsoft 365. That's the whole. We're also going to cover Microsoft Intune, which includes device enrollment, configuration profiles, compliance policies, and app development. Also, Microsoft Azure Identity Management, which includes managing identities, authentication methods, conditional access, and identity governance. This is just a tip of the iceberg. So we have a lot in stock. I thought somebody would be excited already. So now After you're done with our program, right? So these are the jobs you can apply to. You can apply to IT administrator job. You can apply to cloud solution architect. You can apply to Microsoft 365 administration job. You can be a system support analyst, security engineer, and also system analyst. So I haven't done that. Let me tell you about the certificates that you can write as a certified and to be a certified M365 admin. So after you're done with the program, you will be able to write all of these certificates and pass just one. Like you'll be able to write all of the certificates once. So now we have three stages. We have the fundamentals, we have the associate, and we have the expert. So for the fundamentals, you are going to write MS 900. So for associate, you are going to write MD 102, MS7, which is endpoint administrator associate. You are going to write MS 700, which is Teams administrator associate. You are also going to write S300, which is identity and access administrator associate. Now, for the expert exam, you are going to write MS 102. So now the thing is, before you can write expert exam, you need to pass at least one associate exam. However, you can write associate exam without writing the fundamentals, but you can't pass associate. You need to pass associate before you will be able to write the expert exam, which is administrator expert. So now, before I introduce our guest speaker for today, let me talk about the brain behind Techie Academy, who is the founder of Techie. Benga Adeyemo is the founder of Techie Academy. He is a highly skilled senior business analyst, renowned for his extensive expertise in Microsoft technologies and a strong foundation in data analytics. As a Microsoft certified trainer and Power BI data analyst associate, Benga brings over 5 years of valuable work experience, having successfully trained more than 3,000 students in Microsoft technologies. His impressive career spans diverse industries, including healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, and retail, where he has deployed numerous data analytics and Power Platform solutions. With technical proficiency in Microsoft Excel, Power BI, SQL, SSIS, SSAS, Microsoft Fabric, and Power Apps, Benga is well equipped to deliver impactful insights and enhance data-driven decision within organizations. So now let me talk about our guest speaker for today. With your virtual hands jamming together, I would like to welcome Deborah Ademilenyi, who is an expert in MS365 admin with a proven track record of developing innovative solutions. Deborah currently works at Growtech Development Company as a project coordinator. Please join us in welcoming Deborah for an MS365 admin deep dive where efficiency meets security. Deborah, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Thanks for the
All right, thank you so
introduction.
much for coming. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, if I have your permission, I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to be sharing my screen.
Okay.
I need hold on. Okay, please hold on. Okay, so can you all see my screen?
Very
Yes,
clear.
please.
Okay, great. So I'm going to be training you on Microsoft 365 administration, efficiency meets security. So first of all, I'm going to talk about Microsoft 365. So we have just about an hour, and I'll ask the moderator to, intimate me about the time so that I can, meet up with your timing and all. So Microsoft 365 is a collection of cloud-based, and also I would be at some point or maybe later, this class would include some, demo whereby I would have to navigate to Microsoft 365 Admin Center to show you what and what I'm explaining so that you have a better understanding of it. So Microsoft 365 is a collection of cloud-based services and tools of software developed for productivity. It evolved from Microsoft Office. If some of us know the old Microsoft computers, they had monitors as big as those old television sets. And then we had, I think it evolved. We had Microsoft Office, maybe 2003, 2007. And then in 2011, Microsoft introduced Microsoft 365 as a subscription-based service for corporate users to offer services including integration, continuous updates, and that users always have access to the latest features and security updates. So I would now go to what is security. What is security in Microsoft? Security in Microsoft 365 refers to a comprehensive set of tools, services, and policies designed to protect your organization's data, users, and devices from threats. It's part of Microsoft's broader security ecosystem and is deeply integrated. So these five categories are actually broad, but I will try to be fast. And I'm also going to take you later on to the M365 Admin Center to have a better understanding as I am explaining. We have under these five, security has to be enhanced daily because we have the bad guys too on the web. And when you are offering a service to your clients, you have to ensure that when they are using your cloud space, their data is protected. They are also paying for that. So Microsoft, they put that into consideration. So they worked to enhance their security, to the highest level over the years. So these five categories, you have identity and access management, you have threat protection, you have information protection, you have compliance and governance and security management. So I will talk about each one briefly. Let's look at identity and access management. Under identity, you have Microsoft Entra. There is what you call Microsoft Entra ID. This one manages user and identities and access to resources. When I say user and identities, I will break down some of the words in layman's language. When you have a Microsoft 365 cloud space, for example, if you want to subscribe, you are going to go to Microsoft's website, and then the first thing you do is to create your tenant. You are going to create a tenant, and then you are going to, after creating your tenant, then you can, I think you have trial access. Yes, you have trial. The trial, if I still remember, is a short while, maybe less than 2 weeks or thereabout. After the trial, you need to subscribe. You need to purchase a subscription. So now, depending on the kind of license you get, you for example, if it's family subscription, you have access and you buy license for 10 users. You understand? Each user, you create an identity for each user. So for example, if I signed in when I was creating the tenant, my tenant name is Deborah at onmicrosoft.com. So by the time you are creating your user, maybe your user is Tunde, your user's identity access will be Tunde tunde@deborah.onmicrosoft.com. And then later on, you can create more domains. And if you have external domain names, maybe for example, deborah.com, you can always add that. You can add it to your Microsoft tenant space when you create your MX and your TX record. All that is in Microsoft Admin Center and is also under Exchange, as the moderator introduced earlier. So under Identity Access Management, you also have what you call MFA. Remember, we are talking about security in Microsoft 365, multi-factor authentication. This adds a second layer of security beyond passwords. So, when you access some websites and they say you need to sign on with you need to add a second level of security. Maybe you have to add, apart from your password, you have to add your phone number where they will send a verification code to, or you have to add your fingerprint or your face ID. So that's what is known as MFA. You have more than one level of security access. You must have this in place. So conditional access is controls access based on user location device. So the moderator mentioned Intune before. This is where Intune comes in. This is where Endpoint Manager comes in. I will still go to those later. Conditional access, for example, let me just give you a brief example about that. You can set on your conditional access in Microsoft Azure or Microsoft Entra. So when you set it on, you can tweak your condition to say if this device is not Intune joint. That's for your staff, for example, if they have phones, if they have computers, you could have office computer, you could have home computer. That office computer, it has been joined to your network, and possibly your IT administrators in the office have already joined it by Intune to your tenant on Microsoft. However, maybe you have to work from home, for example. Yeah, it's still joined, but maybe if your computer from home is not joined to by Intune to your tenant space on Microsoft, it is never going to allow you to access that. It's not going to allow you to access the tenants. For example, if you are working for Microsoft, and it will not allow you to access Microsoft tenants on another computer if that phone is not joined by Intune, or domain is not joined to the tenant. It is not by Intune. It is not going to allow you. That's an example. Or you can say based on location, if based on location, if so computers have passed so kilometers of space, don't allow them access into this tenant again. Those are just security policies put in place to protect Microsoft users. Okay, so we've talked about identity access management under Microsoft security. The second one is threat protection. Under threat protection, you have what you call Microsoft Defender for Office 365. Microsoft Defender protects against phishing. That's PHISHING, malware and other threats in email collaboration. You have let me break it down. You have some of these bad guys that they just want to access your tenants. They want to steal sensitive information, or sometimes they just want access to your finance. They want to steal your money and all that. And then they send spam, spoofing emails. They could send office.com. Maybe your domain name is office.com and your email is Deborah Ademilei at microsoft.office.com. And then you see that microsoft.office.com. If you do not check it well, that office, it has an extra I. You did not check to see office, OFF, I is supposed to be ICE. They added another I. And then you just say, oh, this email, they've sent us an email. Please, they'll say, share your BVN, share your NIN. We need it to update your financial information and all that. And then you go and send the information to them, and then your money, or they have sensitive, they get access to sensitive information from you, which can endanger the organization or you or your data. So Microsoft Defender guards against this. You also have Microsoft Defender XDR, cross-platform threat detection and response across endpoints, identities. Endpoints is also a security aspect of Microsoft 365. So Microsoft Defender guards against all this. You have safe links and attachments under threat protection. So this scans links links and files in real time to prevent malicious content. Real time, that's when you're on the web and you access your emails, it would have scanned your emails before you open them. If there is a spoof or a spoofing email, it is going to notify you, and then it will be a threat. Sometimes in Exchange, I think Exchange administrators can set it in such a way that they have access to your emails, before it gets across to you, so that if there is any nefarious email, they can remove it before because you may not be so aware of the impact, of the negative impact. Okay, so I will move to the third one. After threat protection, you have information protection. Information protection, you have Microsoft Purview Information Protection. It classifies and protects sensitive data using labels and encryptions. I'm going to, like I said, I will still go to the admin center to show you what I'm talking about. When they say labels, they are not talking about labels like you have a paper and biro and you are labeling something. No, there are labels that are created in the Microsoft, they call it, they used to call it compliance admin center, but now it is purview. So labels are created differentiate um to differentiate sites, let me say sites, Office 365 groups, emails, other sites. You have document libraries just to classify sensitive data. There are some document libraries or maybe files that should not be accessible in Microsoft Office, that's offline. They should not be accessible in your office space, Microsoft Office, that's not on the web, but they should only be accessible on the web for sensitivity of data and all that. You have DLP, data loss prevention. This prevents accidental sharing of sensitive information. That is another kind of I won't say encryption, but another kind of policy labeling in from the Microsoft Compliance Admin Center. You have message encryption. This ensures only intended recipients can read email content. Okay, after information protection, you have compliance and governance. So compliance and governance, you have Microsoft Public Compliance Manager, helps access compliance risks and manages regulatory requirements, audit logs, and e-discovery. Audit log is very important in Microsoft 365. It has saved, let me say it has saved the life of Microsoft many times. Maybe they would have been sued, that their clients would have said their important data got lost, and e-discovery. So this tracks user activity and supports legal investigations. So retention policies controls how long data is kept or deleted. You have to set retention policies. Sometimes if as an administrator, if you are not aware of retention policies, you could go and delete a customer's, or not even a customer, your staff. Maybe the staff was sacked or they resigned or something, and you just sometimes some administrators will delete the data, but they don't really do that because they know the implications. Some would assign that user to a new user instead of deleting the user's data. But even at that, they have to, sometimes they unlicense that account. So if they unlicense it, more than a certain number of these, the OneDrive data of that, they have sensitive mails and information. So if you did not set retention policies to retain the mailbox of that user, to retain the OneDrive, to retain, where they have sensitive information, it will be deleted. And luckily, if they are lucky, within 14 days, if they get across to Microsoft, they if it is not ascertained that they would retrieve the data, but it is just under possibility. That is where audit logs and e-discovery comes in before it can be escalated that, okay, we want to recover this because it has passed 90 days, it has been deleted. If peradventure Microsoft can retrieve this data, you have to run audit logs. Audit logs helps with that, to show if that data is still accessible. E-discovery is used more for exchange, for emails, and e-discovery is wide for exchange and the likes, and mails. So Microsoft Public Compliance Manager, compliance, okay, let me look at it again. That's compliance and governance. I'll just say governance, sometimes you have to, as an administrator, you have to understand the laws of where the company of, should I say, the laws of the residents, where your company resides. If your company is in Europe, you have to know the EU laws. Some laws say that you should not retain a customer or a client's data. If you're a company or an organization, you should not retain the data of another organization or a client in that organization without their permission, and then you are not aware of the law. Maybe your company is resident in Russia, or you are resident in United States. Maybe, for example, United States law says that you can retain the data, but you are now working anti, and then you keep the data of a client without their knowledge, and you are in Europe. So if they find out, they can sue you if that information gets leaked. Sometimes they are doing projects that sensitive projects that runs into billions of whatever currency, and such information, such information is not supposed to leak. If it leaks, they can lose that project, they can lose the money, or it can go to the wrong person, and then they will sue you, they will sue that organization. You want to prevent that. That's under governance too. Okay, so the fifth one, after you have security management, that's after compliance and governance. So security management says that you have Microsoft 365 Defender portal. So if you have your Microsoft license, I cannot confirm what license, because I know for enterprise you have Defender. I think for other subscriptions too, you have Defender. Defender is like your firewall. It runs when you're on the web. You don't know about it, but it's running in the background. It's doing its checks for you. It's checking this, is blocking that, blocking this. It's centralized dashboard for monitoring and managing security across Microsoft 365. Security Score provides a score and recommendations to provide and improve your security, automated investigation and response. I didn't know about this. Okay, I said it just integrated it. It uses artificial intelligence to investigate alerts and take action automatically. So that's about what is security in Microsoft 365. We are going to move to the next one, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay, Microsoft 365 Copilot was created when artificial intelligence started becoming popular and was being accepted generally, starting to gain competitive ground with platforms such as ChatGPT that gained wide momentum. So Microsoft introduced Copilot as their AI chat tool to synchronize with M365. Initially, it was just available to specific Microsoft 365 subscribers, but in the long term, the plan is to make it available to all or majority subscribers. It uses advanced language models, and it is intended to help users be more productive and efficient. For example, it can gather a summary of from your meeting when used in Microsoft Teams calls and more. So this is a good advantage of Microsoft 365. In fact, now when you try to navigate to the admin center, if you go to office.com, for example, before it will take you to, if you're an administrator, it's not everybody that has access to the admin center. When I say everybody, like every user or every user in your tenant is only the admin or those you grant admin access. So before it will just take you to the admin center, but now it will launch Microsoft Copilot. Then it is within Copilot you will now navigate to the admin center. So when I said it can gather summary, this is a very good I like Microsoft 365 Copilot for this. So when you have a meeting, you're having a meeting, if you I think you can tweak your under your team settings, if you are taking the recording, if you have Microsoft 365 Copilot in your subscription, you can just ask it, you can tell Microsoft 365, okay, you can tell Copilot rather, give me a summary of the meeting, it will give you good highlights. I tried it. Sometimes when I learned from my customers, some of them, these people, they know it very well. So you always have to also update yourself. But sometimes you just be humble and you learn from them. So she was talking about it, and then it was newly introduced that time. And okay, so I also tried it on my end, and it worked for me. So that's about Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can ask it intelligent questions like just like ChatGPT. It will give you information, provide good information for you. So we have, okay, understanding identities. Identities is broad, and I talked about identity and the user. When you create your user in a tenant, and that you can add is it 5 or 8 domains now? You can add multiple domains to your Microsoft 365 tenant space. And like I said, you can create a new domain. Microsoft permits you to create a new domain inside your Microsoft 365 tenant, and you can even okay, yes, and you can also add your external domain, like I said, and add it to your Microsoft space. If, for example, you don't want to bear the name, you don't want to continue bearing the name the so at numberstech dot on Microsoft, or you don't like that dot on Microsoft name, you can always switch to the domain you prefer. And if you had an external domain name before, you can just add it to your Microsoft 365 tenant. You just go through some procedures that are explainable. They're already in the Microsoft 365 admin center, and so it will ask you to add your MX or TX record and all that, and then you will add your domain name. Microsoft gives Office 365 tenants custom domain name upon account creation, which domain name can be changed later. Yes. So Microsoft 365 Admin Center is a centralized web-based portal where administrators manage Microsoft 365 services, users, and settings for their organizations. It is designed to simplify IT management tasks and provide insights into how Microsoft 365 is being used. So basically, this is what Microsoft does. 365 Admin Center is for. You have IT administrators majorly who understand how it works. They manage the tenant for you. You have, for example, some licenses like enterprise. Enterprise is for thousands of, when you have thousands of staff in your organization. So you need to have administrators who know what's in, because sometimes okay, I will still go to that place. I will go there. Some of them, they manage on premise, and they also your Active Directory server in. Okay, I'll go there later so that I would not okay, Microsoft Entra. Microsoft Entra is the web. Okay, maybe should I show you, let me show you some of what I'm talking about. After I finish this, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Users of Azure Active Directory. So let me say Azure Active Directory, Azure AAD, is like the web of is like the website, let me say online of Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 is a cloud-based service already, but inside that cloud-based service, Azure is now like the, should I say, the website, or the where you create, this is where you create identities. This is where you create you integrate applications. This is where you tweak settings of users that maybe there are some users. So that's where I'm trying to come in. You have on-premise Active Directory. This is Azure Active Directory. So this is one of the features that Microsoft 365 administration provides for their users. If you outside this, if you want to create users, you have to have your servers, what you call your servers. You have to have on-premise servers. So Active Directory, where you create your users. So now for some organizations now migrated to Microsoft 365 Cloud. Some did not migrate. They maintained their on-premise Microsoft 365 on-premise servers. Then they also obtained, they bought enterprise subscription for Microsoft 365 Web, Microsoft 365 Cloud. So they have what you call hybrid environment. Hybrid is dual. That means you have more than one, they have more than one environment. You have on-premise Active Directory and you have Azure Active, both Microsoft on-premise and Microsoft Cloud. So there are some users that were created in on-premise AD. So now they need to sync those users. Those users will synchronize to Microsoft Azure AD. If they don't sync, it can create problems like having two OneDrive accounts for one user, and then the user is confused, and then they reach out to us. So I'm just giving you an example or an highlight of Microsoft Entra and Azure Active Directory. So what the users of Azure Active Directory? IT administrators. You can use Azure AD to require multi-factor authentication. Yes. Additionally, you can use Azure Active Directory to automate user provisioning between your existing Windows server and your cloud apps, including M365. I already mentioned your existing, Windows Server AD, that's your on-premise servers. You can now, they are saying, even before Microsoft, some organizations fully migrated to M365, or they added it. Some of them have applications they've been using, or maybe they integrated with their on-premise servers that users use. So now it's saying that you can use Azure AD to provision, to connect those clouds now, the cloud apps, to M365 Azure rather than Windows Server AD. So finally, Azure Active Directory gives you powerful tools to automatically help protect users' identities and credentials. Yes. So furthermore, application developers also use Microsoft Entra. So they can be used as a standard-based approach to add single sign-on to your application to allow it to work with users' existing credentials. So, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Azure Active Directory also provides APIs that can help you build personalized application experiences using existing organizational data. So here it is saying that you can integrate third-party apps. Azure AD, these ones are for maybe developers. Yes, application developers. They connect third-party applications to your Microsoft 365 web, so that your users can, it is easier for them to work. They can work seamlessly, instead of having to do just sign out from this one, they'll quickly go and sign into that one, and customer is waiting and all that, but they sync everything together. You also have some existing applications that are now available on Microsoft 365 that you can just add to, you can just sync it maybe to your SharePoint or to your Viber or your Teams or whatever. But apart from that, they are saying application developers the traditional applications that they created, that they built, you can sync it to your M365 space. So thirdly, Microsoft 365, Office 365, Azure or Dynamics CRM online subscribers have access to Entra ID. So Dynamics is a different CRM, is a different software or application completely from M365, though owned by Microsoft. So that one is, you might know it maybe for some of you that have worked with other organizations. Some use Dynamics, for example. They use it to activate, they build their database, their users database in Dynamics, so that people can access users data more easily. So that, for example, if a customer is calling, you don't just have to traditionally start writing their name. What is your name? What is your phone number? You start looking for their data. No, once the customer calls, as it's calling, the phone number will just bring up their data in Dynamics CRM. It will bring out the name, the address. If they have a case that has been existing before, it will bring up the case. It will show you what the case update is, so that you will not be giving excuse to the customer. Just let them know this and this, and you follow up. So that's about that. Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So here the moderator talked about Intune. Okay, Microsoft Endpoint Manager is a unified management platform that helps organizations manage and secure their devices, applications, and users across both cloud and on-premises environments. It combines several services into one solution primarily. So key components of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, you have Intune, you have Configuration Manager, you have Endpoint Analytics Windows. Okay, and Endpoint Analytics. Windows Autopilot is also another one, sorry. It's one of the, it's 5 of them, and then you have co-management. So Intune, the moderator already talked about that before, but I will just give you a brief about it. So Intune, it manages, what it does is cloud-based services. It provides cloud-based services for mobile device management and mobile application management. It manages devices like smartphones, tablets, laptops. It also enforces security policies, app deployment, and compliance settings. It has been very helpful so that external or unwanted users will not just access your tenant. So, like I said, I explained that before. That's whatever, if it's a phone, you are using your phones, you have 2 phones, 3 phones. If they are not joined to your domain or they are not domain joined like through via Intune, you will not be able to access the tenant because of security. So that's what Intune is about. Configuration Manager, on-premise, it offers on-premise solution for managing desktops, servers, and laptops. It handles software updates, operating system deployment, and inventory. You have co-management. Co-management allows devices to be managed by both Intune and Configuration Manager. Endpoint Analytics provides insights into device performance and user experience. I see analytics and Endpoint Analytics is in Admin Center too. Windows Autopilot simplifies device provisioning and setup. Device provisioning is when you are setting up your device, you are setting up your device to access the tenant. So that's about that. Microsoft Exchange and security. So Microsoft Exchange is a messaging and collaboration platform primarily used for email, calendaring, contacts, and tasks. Exchange Online, okay, cloud-based, yes. So you have you have your Microsoft Exchange server. So that's the um the on-premise Active Directory AD for Exchange. So that is separate from, but we are treating M365. So I'm just focusing on Exchange Online, and you have key features of this. You have business class email with advanced security. So I would say that when M365 was introduced, in 2011, it came with they have Exchange Online, they have SharePoint, they have Teams, and the likes of it. So you have OneDrive. Now, this is more sophisticated than just your Microsoft Outlook. It covers your Outlook. Your Outlook is your emails, where you have your emails, and this one manages all that and more. It manages Office 365 groups. So Office 365 groups, if you understand, it's also under identities. Should I say it's under identities? Office 365 groups. So you can sync that Office 365 group works across Microsoft 365. You can use it, is available in SharePoint. That's if you create an Office 365 group, for example, if depending on the kind of group it is, it's available in Microsoft Exchange, it's available in Teams, it's available in SharePoint, So key features of Microsoft Exchange. It has business class email with advanced security, shared calendars, and scheduling. So Office 365 groups is also under shared calendars and all that. It's just broad. Office 365 group, you can create your calendaring and, sync it to SharePoint and all that. So you have mobile access and synchronization. You have integration with Outlook and Microsoft 365 apps, and you have compliance and data loss prevention tools. Yes, that's also in Compliance Admin Center, which I mentioned before. Microsoft SharePoint and OneDrive. SharePoint Online is a cloud-based collaboration platform that is part of Microsoft 365. It allows organizations to store, organize, share, and access information from any device with a web browser. The key features, you have document management, you have team sites, you have communication sites, integration, search and discovery, security, and compliance. So your SharePoint, you can create different kinds of sites where under those sites you have document libraries. Document libraries, it's you can have up to 5 million data there, but normally we would advise don't have up to 5 million data so that it will not hang, because you can create several document libraries. Why keep all your documents inside one document library and then later it will start giving you? So you can create several document libraries, and people can access it. And then OneDrive is it's just like you have your Google Drive connected to your Gmail, the same way you have. So that's what OneDrive is. You have is your personal space. SharePoint is for general space for everybody to access documents, but OneDrive is your personal space where you can keep private company data. So the other person that should have access to your OneDrive is the administrator, just in case of maybe you leave the organization or something like that. They need to access your data when you are not around. So the other person that should have access to your M365 space to your OneDrive is the admin. So Microsoft Teams and Viva. So Microsoft Teams is a collaboration and communication platform that is part of Microsoft 365. It brings together chat, video meetings, file sharing, and app integration into a single workspace, making it ideal for both remote and in-office teams. So your Microsoft Teams also, you have some kinds of what do they call them? Microsoft Teams. Under Microsoft Teams, you have different spaces too. Some of them document libraries. I won't call them document libraries in Teams, but they have another name under Teams. But they can sync to SharePoint, and in SharePoint they will open as document library. But in Teams they would open as not groups, maybe subcategories. There's a name they call them, and so it is interesting, I would say. But Teams, your Microsoft Teams, you can create different teams for. You have 5 departments. You have department of the one that of sales. You have department of clearing. You have department of security. So you want to you have staff in each of these people in each of these teams, and you want to pass general information so that everybody in clearing, they will know that, okay, oh, we are clearing this good this morning. The one in sales, we are making sales, our sales, we are rounding up today Friday. You want everybody to know. You have 35 people there, so you just drop the message for them on Teams. Everybody is going to see the message. You can communicate. Okay, Microsoft Viva is an employee experience platform built into Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft too, like I said, they are always introducing new products, so that they can continue to be trending and offer new services that are trendy in terms of technology to their customers, and they can give them the best service for the money they are taking from their customers. So from their clients. So Viva 2 was built into, you have it in Teams, you have it you can also connect to SharePoint from Viva. But however, it's like a community-based platform. You also have learning there. You can learn, you have access to a lot of information there. It's just like a school, like you have your Coursera, you have three segments of Viva. So one of them is learning, so you just like you are accessing by the time you see so many Microsoft courses that you can learn there. The only thing you need is data. Once you have data, you can learn so much. You have it in Viva. So it was built into Microsoft 365 and Teams. It is designed to improve how people connect, engage, learn, and grow at work, especially in hybrid or remote environments. Yes, so you can learn anywhere you are. Once you have access, you are accessing your Microsoft Viva. You can learn anywhere you are. You don't have to be in class physically. Microsoft 365 Office tools. So Office, or I should have just put Microsoft Office tools, but Office tools like Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, they are also in 365 too. So, but before 365 came, they were Microsoft Office tools, but they are also integrated into Microsoft 365. So they're a collection of productivity applications that help users create, communicate, collaborate, and manage tasks efficiently. These include Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, Access, and Publisher. They are available in desktop apps, web browsers, and mobile devices. So we all know all this. We know these applications. They are also available in Microsoft 365. Microsoft Streams, um, List, and Power Apps. Microsoft Streams is the video streaming channel of Microsoft. So Microsoft Streams is usually when you want to create, if you create your video, for example, in Teams, you can go to Streams and find it there. Normally, it will save and record. You will find it in Teams if you are recording. But you can also, like, if you want a video platform for your community in your environment, in your tenants, in your organization, Streams is the available platform for your video recording and all that. So Microsoft List is like Excel. However, it is more seamless, whereby you can create your own style of Excel or whatever you want to customize it to be. And you can customize it to suit your preference. You can create a list, for example, for traveling, for onboarding customers. Maybe you have new onboarding clients or staff rather. For onboarding, you have a new staff and all that. You can create it for database. So you have a custom list. When I say custom lists, you have different kinds of lists in Microsoft. Microsoft has created it for you. You will see traveling, you will see onboarding new staff, you will see database, you see a list of them. So you just pick the one you want, and you just choose it and you apply it. Usually too, you can create lists from SharePoint, but like I said, Microsoft always introduces new software or they update their data and all that. So lists it was now created, it's now separate. They just created it again and put it there. But by the time you are looking at the URL of the list, it is from SharePoint. It is from the roots of the URL is still going to SharePoint. So Microsoft Power Apps is a development platform that enables users to build custom business applications quickly and easily without needing extensive coding knowledge. So under Power Apps, you have under Microsoft Power Apps, you have is a different should I say the different one entirely too. I think you have 4 subsections. You have Power Automate, you have different ones there. So it was, like I said, it was created to build custom business applications without coding. So you don't have to code. And then there are all in Power Automate, for example, there are all already custom based, like they have been created to just make your work seamless. You just choose the flow you want. They call them flows. So you choose the flow you want, and then you can also build your own flow from the scratch, but you are not coding. That is what it's telling you. Okay, M365 carriers. I believe our moderator has covered that the knowledge of M365 is needed in many organizations today because hundreds of thousands of companies have migrated from on-premise to cloud and need experts to manage the cloud space. There are carriers like Microsoft 365 365 technical support, Exchange admin, SharePoint admin, Teams admin, Power Apps admin, Cloud Azure administrators. There is also technical training expert role in these lines to train staff or administrators. And then you have list of careers. Moderator covered that too. You have Microsoft 365 administrator, M365 security and compliance specialist, Microsoft Entra identity, that's Azure AD. Entra is also Azure. So Microsoft Entra identity engineer, M365 support specialist. So certifications. The moderator covered, exactly what was here. That was what she talked about. You have some certifications that are beginner, you have some that are associates, and you have the one for experts, expert level. So if you do not have at least an associate, you cannot write the expert examination. But basically, you have Microsoft 365 fundamental for beginner, you have the one for expert. It says it requires certification in endpoints, Teams, identity, access, information protection, or messaging admin associate. So you need an associate certification to write an expert. So this third one talks about the associate exams themselves, which have been mentioned. Those are endpoints, messaging admin, Teams admin, access admin. So that is about that. So I will stop sharing my screen now, and then I will just give you, I'll now share my admin center and just give you a brief about what I've been talking about, and then I would end the class. So please permit me to take some water.
Please go ahead.
Thank you.
You really tried. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let me share my screen now. I'm going to share the edge. Okay, well, let me see. Yes. Okay. Please, can you all see my screen? I'm sharing the Microsoft 365 Admin Center.
Right.
Yes, I see your screen.
Okay, great. Now, so this is, if you come to, like I said, if you click office.com here, office.com would bring you to, normally before it will bring you to admin center, but now it will bring you to 365 Copilot, and you can always ask any question. You have the Copilot here to at the top right hand side of my screen. You can also click on that. Maybe when you are browsing, it will just appear at the right side of your screen. You can be chatting and asking Copilot questions. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So let me close it. And then I came here earlier, and then, it already brought me here. So let's just come here. So I'm coming to the left-hand pane of my screen, and I click on show all. You have, like I said, remember I mentioned that not all users can access admin center. Only administrators can access admin center. Kindly hold on, please. Thank you. Okay, so back to, can you see my screen, please?
I can't see from
Not
Jane.
yet. Not
you
yet. We
cannot
can
see it.
see.
Okay, let me reshare it. Thank you. It's good that I asked, so that I will not just assume that you could see my screen. Let me reshare. Okay, now this is admin center. At the left-hand pane, you can see home, you can see Copilot, users. Under users, you can create, these are the active users. Those are people that maybe they have license. Okay, active users. You have there you can license and unlicensed users. You have your users here, you see different users where you can, let me see. if you click on a user, you see if they are licensed, if the user is licensed, for example. And then under, you have guest users. You have guest users. You have guest users are people that you signed into your environment. Maybe you shared a document externally. All these ones have they have permission settings too. You can tweak the permission settings. Usually, documents are just generally classified under SharePoint and OneDrive. So these are external. You can see the people that have from, you can see Gmail. This is my Gmail and other external users. It's showing that this is an external, some of them are external access. And then you have people that you deleted. Now, teams and groups, you have Office 365 teams and groups. You have, I mentioned it, you can create Office, this Office 365 groups is very, very useful because it can, you have, as you are creating a group, sometimes it will create teams, it will create a teams group. In Teams, you will see it. It will create exchange. In Exchange, it will have, you have a group to in Exchange, which you can use for calendaring. It has it will connect you to site. It can even create a can it create a site? It can, you can, yes. There are some groups that when you create them, it will create a site too automatically. And then you can add people to those, to the group. And your calendaring is very important. For example, if you have a site, you need to sync calendaring sometimes, because that site, for example, you can have different departments. You can have up to 5 to 10 departments in your organization. And maybe, for example, you have compliance, you have HR should not be able to access what's compliance, the space of compliance. So when a compliance staff signs in normally, maybe they go to their site, they're supposed to see all that is happening within compliance, so maybe you have your calendar, you have somebody celebrating birthday within their unit, that site is just for them. For HR, their own site is for them. You also have different, a site called communication site. That one is the general, that should be the general site for the whole organization. So that's about groups. You have shared mailboxes to which connects to Exchange, shared mailbox, where you can where an email comes in, and different people can have access to that mailbox. You have roles. This is where you grant roles to an administrator. So you can have different roles. You can assign one, okay, Exchange admin role. You can assign another Teams administrator. You can assign another Intune administrator. You can assign another Power Apps, different roles that you can assign to users here. Okay, there are many of them. Application, you can see how many they are. So you can just check, and you as an admin, if you want to assign everything to yourself, So resources, let's see, resources, rooms, sites, okay, and sites, rooms, equipment. Some of them are newly, some of them are added newly, and you have to check it sometimes. It is good for, if you are working with customers, to always update yourself too, because some of the customers are very knowledgeable. Maybe they just did not know one or two things before they called you, maybe just OneDrive. And then some of them are patient enough to, even if you ask them, they can explain to you and just put you through. So marketplace, billing is for your licensing, your payments, to see, okay, as my subscription for the month ended, am I subscribing for 1 year or for 1 month, or for, how many licenses am I purchasing? Am I paying with my card or all that? If I want to remove my card, you can just, that is what this one is for. Support is if you want to raise a ticket to Microsoft, and then it will route it to, depending on the title of your ticket, it will route it to the concerned team that would work with you. Your settings, you have domains. I talked about domains. You want to set up domains, you want to add domains to your tenant. You can create, more domains. And if you don't want the one that has .onmicrosoft.com, you can just add, and you can add external domains. You have organization settings. If you want to change the name of the default name of your maybe numbers tech here, and you want it to sync across the whole, like you want it to sync across SharePoint, Exchange, OneDrive, everything. You can change all that here, and then you have okay, set up reports. Yeah, reports too is very useful sometimes when administrators want to know what is going on in their for their users in their environment. They want to know what is going on for their users in their environments. They can check here for OneDrive. Okay, what is happening in so and so user? When last did the user access? You can see different activities here, how many files. So if you also here, where are we? Health. Okay, health. Okay, you can check the health of your computer. So there's something that an administrator to check. You can monitor the performance or the health of your computers. For OneDrive, for example, you have to add it by policy. There's something they call group policies and all that. You have to, policing and all that. So when you activate that, you can see the performance of different computers and their OneDrive and all that. You can see them on your own end, on your own machine as an administrator. So majorly, this is where I want to take you people to. I'm going to show you identity and purview. So these are the other major admin center. You have security admin center. These ones I showed you are just the settings and all. Admin center, you have security, you have Microsoft Purview. That's the one I said was previously it was previously compliance. Microsoft Intune, you have identity, you have Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, Power Platforms. So now, depending on the kind of admin access you have, if you're a SharePoint admin, you'll only be able to access SharePoint administration, SharePoint admin center rather. You will not be able to access, but if you're a global admin, you'll be able to have access to everything. So let me go to identity before I come to purview. Seems to be taking some time. Okay. So here, Entra, there's a lot that can be done here. You have your users, you have your groups, 365 groups. Some of them, like I said, that your users now, you can create them in admin center. You can come to identity to create them. Sometimes you may want to do some advanced things, should I say settings, or maybe you are working with an administrator and their tenant, whatever, and they need to do some important things. You come here. There is a lot of settings here. Here you have conditional access that I talked about. This is where you do your conditional access. You can see conditional access here. You can see roles and admins, app registration. You can register applications here. So sometimes if you are going to set a conditional access, you cannot just set conditional access anyhow because you can lock yourself out as an admin. And if you lock yourself out, it could be very, if you are not savvy, it will be not easy to access it back because a Microsoft administrator has to help you. And you have to raise a ticket. So how would you raise a ticket to Microsoft? So you cannot just set policies, conditional access policies, and just activate them. You need to exclude yourself sometimes from that policy. Ensure you exclude yourself before you turn it on. If not, you can put yourself or other users in trouble. And then you have multi-factor authentication. You have yes, you have different ones. It's not something you learn in one day. I will just say it's something you learn over time. And sometimes when you are working with when you pick tickets and you're working with customers, you learn more and more. So I'm just giving you a brief into it to see how it looks. So now let's go to Microsoft Purview. In Microsoft Purview, I said before that it was called Compliance Admin Center, but now it is known as Purview. So the name was changed, so also was the interface changed, and so when it was changed initially, I was wondering where is data, where is policies, where is retention, and you have to navigate or you have to just navigate around it to understand how it works. This is data security, data catalog, information protection, data loss prevention. So view all, if you scroll down to, you have insider adapt. Okay, but majorly this is where I'm going to view all solutions. Okay, we come to view all solutions. Here you can see core, risk compliance, you can see data governance, data security, resources. If you scroll down, you can see audit, compliance alerts. So this audit has been very useful because sometimes maybe an engineer's, I don't want to say an engineer's life, but an engineer has been saved many a times from the wrath of an administrator or a customer or a client by these audit logs, so that because you are representing the organization, they don't want to know you are the person they are angry at, you are the organization, so they are going to release all hell on you if you don't give them the solution they want. So you just bring them to this audit logs to run audit logs to see if what they want is still available or not. That has saved engineers many times. So e-discovery works more with exchange. E-discovery is wide. It works across the whole Microsoft space. It's very wide. You can use it to retrieve data. There was a time someone, another administrator on this tenant, he set a retention policy, and I'll also come to that. You cannot just set retention policies anyhow. You need to know all these things before you can, because by the time he set it, so what he said was that emails should be deleting every 1 week or so. So, I was not really observant about that because I didn't have important emails in my Outlook. But there was a time I got some very important emails, and I forwarded them to my Outlook. And by the time I came back, I just remember I was like, okay, now I need this data. Let me go and get it. And then I started looking for it. Hey, where is this email? I went to delete deleted mails. I did not see it. I had to contact my friends in Exchange that know about mails more and e-discovery. They now advise me on how to use e-discovery, and that e-discovery, you also need to understand how it works, because you need to make yourself an administrator for e-discovery. So it wasn't easy, but I'm thankful I was able to retrieve the information. But basically, what am I saying? Don't just set retention policies without understanding how it works. You cannot just set 1 week. Imagine if that 1 week was set for a whole organization. That person will be sacked. I'm sure the person will be jailed because of important information if they cannot retrieve the information. So e-discovery, I'm coming to risk and compliance. Is that where I want to go to? Okay, compliance manager here. You have others too, but I'm just coming to compliance manager. I want to show you policies. Okay, so under policies, you can see you have so this you can create. Once you create policies here, you can add your Office 365 groups, you can exclude it, you can include it, you can add users, you can exclude users, you can add your mailboxes, you can apply to teams, across board to sync across. So you see policies. So under policies, pardon me, let me come to data lifecycle management. Retention labels, policies. So labels and policies, they work together. Retention policies and labels. It's been a while since I created a label or a policy, but I think a label, is it retention that controls a label, or a label controls retention? So the label could apply to different document libraries. For example, you remember I told you about some information that should not be accessible in offline. They are only accessible on the web, but you are not supposed to access them maybe in Microsoft Office. You can only access them in real time on the web, because of they are trying to protect the information, and there are some that they have labels to attach to them. When you are opening that document, you can see the labels. So you can whatever the label is created for. So You have new, delete, retain file in SharePoint. So for example, you can create a retention policy that says you don't want retain data, retain, let me see, you retain data of for 10 years or forever. But that forever, you are going to get more space. You are going to be buying more space to your tenant because that's a whole lot of space. Retain data for 10 years, even after an account has been deactivated. So that means it's not going to delete that mailbox of the user because, for example, imagine if one of an executive director in a big organization left, they have a lot of data, or maybe an IT administrator, they have a lot of data in their OneDrive, they have a lot of mails that are important that maybe the board has said they don't want to be deleted. And then you cannot just when the user leaves, delete the user accounts just like that. No, you should have set in place retention policy that will retain the mailbox, retain their OneDrive, so that their data can be kept. And if you want to retrieve it or whatever, that's up to you. So basically, I'm going to be rounding up because of time. This is just, I just wanted to show you what it is about. And so I would hand over to the moderator now to, take the floor. Thank you so much for the opportunity to take everybody.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Deborah. Your section is very enlightening. And in fact, it's like as if I'm in a school. I'm telling you, if not
Thank you
because
so much.
I'm the founder of the academy, I will have registered for your class. I'm telling you, it's so wonderful.
Thank
You know how to
you.
explain things. You took everything step by step. Stage one to stage two to stage three to stage four. Everything was well explained. I mean, you are highly, highly appreciated. This is great. So, for people that are
Thank
here,
you, sir.
the reason why we are sensitizing people, thank you, is that people need to know that there's a lot of career paths, right? That because when most people want to go into tech, it's always about data analytics, and which is good, but there's a lot of other career paths that are very interesting, that is highly in demand. That means 365 is one of them, in the sense that if you are skilled in Microsoft 365, be assured that you're going to get a job, right? Because companies need people that will do installation, setup, configuration, and all these administrative parts that comes with 365. So I can assure you that is a very interesting career path, right? Um, for those that want to register, I put Nike's name and Nike's phone number in the chat section. Please reach out to Nike. She will give you all the information that you need to know to register. Our classes are starting first week of September. That's the 1st of September. And we are also running a scholarship program because we know that programs they are a little pricey, and it's because of the quality and the content of what you are going to be getting. And where we are different from other edtech platforms is that we do not do short programs. Short programs are for lazy people. We believe that if you really want to learn something deep dive, so imagine that what Debbie has talked today is still even the basics, right? She has not even gone into specific areas. If she starts talking about endpoint administration alone now, we can use the whole day here. We can use the whole week, a whole month to talk about it because these things are very in depth. And what can stand you out as a tech professional is by having the knowledge of the career of your career path in depth. If you choose any career path, you should be able to know it in depth, right? It means that when you go for interviews, you should stand out. If every other person are talking about the basics, you should talk about the intermediate and the advanced things. That's what will set you apart from every other applicant in an interview process. So that's why we've crafted the curriculums for Techie Academy in such a way that we consulted those that are well experienced, people like Deborah, that they've had experience on the job, they've seen a lot of complex situations, they've been able to close a lot of tickets, right? And they are able to, successfully implement solutions that helps clients and organization as a whole. So our 365 program cut across all the areas that have been listed, right? So if you are interested, you can register with Nike, and also the scholarship link is going to close by the 2nd of August. We are going to drop the scholarship. Adiola, please drop the scholarship link on the chat section. You can get as much as 100%. It means they're not paying any kobo, right? You're not paying anything at all to enjoy the 10 months program. So if you apply on time, we are going to run a scholarship exam. Depending on your score, will determine how much percentage you are getting off the tuition of the program. Thank you very much, Deborah. Thank you very much, everyone. In case you have
Thank
questions, this
you.
is time for you to ask your questions, and Deborah will be here to answer you. Thank you. I'm guessing that people so much enjoy the section, they don't have questions. Or probably the whole thing is new to them. So,
Good
in the absence
evening.
of, okay, somebody has a question.
Good
Good evening.
evening.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. The question I'm having it's about the scholarship, basically, like the upcoming program, not
Okay.
really on the class though.
Okay.
And thank you, Mrs. Deborah or Miss Deborah, for your session. Yeah, it was wonderful and insightful.
Thank
And
you.
then, yeah, the question on the scholarship was, I saw the mail on that, and I applied some time back, and I wanted to know
Okay.
if like that was still valid though. And
Yes, it is still valid. So
oh,
the
okay. And
deadline
then
for the scholarship
I heard,
application is 2nd of August. So we want
okay.
the dates to, we want that 2nd of August to come and go. Then we now
Oh,
reach out to people for the next step. Yes.
oh, all right, all right, all right. That was
Yes.
actually my question. I wanted to know how I was going to get a feedback and
Okay.
know how to proceed from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other person? Any other question? Any question for Deborah? Deborah, may I have questions for you? Are you there?
Okay, yes, I'm here. Please go ahead.
So I want to ask you something. So if you call yourself a Microsoft 365 administrator, uh,
Yes.
you know, okay, let me give you an instance because me, I'm a data analyst, right? And
Mhm.
uh, for data analysis, for example, you can be a data analyst, but you can be a specialist in Power BI. You can be a specialist in SQL. You can be a Tableau person as a data analyst.
Yes.
So for 365 admin, so is it possible for you to be a 365 administrator, but your focus area is, or your area of specialization is on endpoint administration, is on messaging, blah, blah, blah. Like, is there anything like that? Or if you're 365 admin, you have to know like every area, the compliance, the identity, the all of those things. Is that how it works for 365?
Fiverr, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So, basically, it is possible for you have your exam, you can do your examinations. For example, if you remember, you have to do your beginner, you have to take your fundamental before you can take other examinations, associate and
Mhm,
certified. So,
mhm,
those for beginner, the questions will not be so difficult. But as an associate, depending on the specification of what you are picking, you are expected to know more. So it is possible for you to have experience. Maybe you worked as an tech support engineer. Even as an engineer, they will just skill you. You are going to be they'll teach everybody identities. So they'll introduce you to identities, right? But after that, you are going to be put in exchange. You are going to be an exchange engineer. You'll be a Teams engineer. You'll be a SharePoint and OneDrive engineer. You'll be a billings engineer. That's how it works, you know. But sometimes it is possible you have engineers who have maybe they were tired of they've been in SharePoint for some time, so they wanted to move to Exchange. They were able to move to Exchange and securities. They moved to Teams. They did, you know, so they have knowledge and they've been there for some time. Experience gives you knowledge. So experience is one thing. It is possible for you to know. So administration is why. That's what I'm trying to explain. Because even IT administrators of organizations, not even M365, if they have issues, they know that Microsoft will just raise a ticket. This one is for Exchange, it will go to Exchange engineer. This one is for SharePoint, it will go to SharePoint engineer. They don't know it all.
Wow.
But basically, they are good at AD, Active Directory. That is they call system, what do they call them? They specialize in Active Directory and all that. They know system um administration. They are system administrators. So, but they don't know everything because Exchange is deep. SharePoint is deep. Teams is deep. So if they need to raise it, so that's why enterprise we work with administrators only. We work with IT admins because enterprise are for thousands of they have thousands of staff in their organizations, in their organization. So that administrator cannot be doing everything, you know. So they'll just raise a ticket. So sometimes too they have admins, like I said, they will assign this one, be an IT, be a SharePoint admin. So that SharePoint admin will reach out to us, but they still have a global administrator. So it is those global administrators, they didn't just get there by certification. They have been, some of them, they've been there for 30 years, you know. Some of these Americans and all the likes, they have been there for 30 years, you know, at least 30 years, 25 years. So it's experience that they didn't just become global admins because hey, if you're a global admin of an enterprise organization, you know I talked about some settings that a novice cannot just tweak. If you tweak those settings and something happens, you can put that organization in jeopardy. This is organization that is managing billions, millions of dollars, and you understand? So you cannot just have a novice just become a global admin. These guys are tenured. They have been there for, so you're talking about, when you are talking to a global admin, sometimes the person could be like 50 something years old, you know, and they're just talking to you, but they have a lot of IT. They work with IT people. They have guys under them. They have maybe Teams administrator. They have you understand? But then the certification that is now available in Microsoft, they are saying you have beginner fundamentals. So just if you want, but now if you want to specialize in one, it just requires that before you write the associate exam, just learn about, just if you are going to read about it, if it's identity you are doing, know about identity. You may not necessarily have experience, but experience is good sometimes, you know, before you write those exams. But if you don't have experience, read about it, you know, so that you can now specialize and take these certifications. So it is possible for you to have experience in Microsoft administration, but it is you have to, you know, it takes time, you understand, across board. If you want to know it across board, it will take time. It is possible. And it is also possible to specialize in one if you have passed that examination, because after fundamentals, that's beginner. The associate is, I don't want to use the word tougher, but of course it's more advanced than beginner, and expert is more advanced than associate. So you know what you are going up for you to go and sit for expert examination. You have to prepare very well so that your money will not fly away. So I hope I answered your question, please.
Aurora, you are too much. You are too much, man. You are too much. Well answered. Do you know, before
Thank you.
now, even not because of exposure, before now, when they talk about Microsoft 365, sincerely, we thought it was just Excel, PowerPoint, and all
Okay.
those things. But we just thank God for the exposure. You know, we got to know that there's a lot of things
Exactly.
involved, like compliance and all. And what really inspired us at Tech Academy to actually had this as part of our program is because, uh, being here, I've seen a lot of times I will have issues with my installations, I see the way I, bring out ticket, I create tickets, the way they answer me in a professional manner, they ask me questions, they troubleshoot for me, and I feel like, wow, this is a very, good career path. And I don't think there's any organization in this world, in the entire world, that does not have an IT administrator that helps with a lot of troubleshooting stuff. Yeah. No. So I know a lady, I will not mention her name. She now works with Microsoft. She also started as this IT support, to IT admin, to full 365 program manager, blah, blah, blah. Now because of this career path that she chose, she was able to work. She got a job that took her to Dublin. The company sponsored everything, and now she's in Microsoft. So the opportunities in tech are just a lot, but it's just that people are not learning tech properly the way they should learn it. Look at the way you've come today, you've analyzed a lot of things, talked about everything, section by section, part by part. I mean, very interesting. If every edutech is like this and people can learn things in a step-by-step manner, I think, in a section by section way, that they are going to really go in depth of things and really learn it the way it should be. And when they come out of the programs like this, they are going to become shining stars. Ah, man, I don't know what else to say, man. It's just the program is just interesting. I really, it's as if you should not stop. You should not even go.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Thank you for
Thank
attending.
you. Yeah.
See you in our next webinar again. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Thank
Debbie.
you very
everybody.
much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Adeyemo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.